Welcome back, viewers, to Albania versus Iberia. Skanderbeg Legacy, the achievement is done. Unfortunately, the last episode was cut off because I recorded so much. I think what happened was I ran out of disk space. So unfortunately, the campaign was finished, and I did keep running for like another 10-20 minutes, but I ended up talking to myself because I didn't realize I wasn't recording. But anyway, I want to talk about a few things. So first, I have let the game run a little bit, and I've moved my capital over to Duras, and naturally developed it to 50 development. I could have moved to Lesi, but Duras is grasslands is so much better than the mountainous Lesi, which is a little unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. And second, well, that's actually about it, really, because I don't think there is anything left to do in this campaign. I could try to integrate my subjects, but really, what's the point? That's this Dragon campaign on for no real benefit. There's no more achievement I could get. If you look at the achievements list, I made Center of Retention, Rags or Riches, don't really care to be honest. Viva la Revolution, I guess I could try again, but like I said, I don't really care. The only thing that it might even be worthwhile getting right now is Mare Nostrum, because I already have most of it. It's just that, why bother? Because then I have to drag on for another 90 years, go fight Great Britain and France, and Netherlands, just no point. So, I'm going to call the campaign here. However, before we finish off, I am going to end with, where is it? I can never remember how to get to it, is it? There's a history, trigger modifiers, somewhere, statistics maybe, and short timeline. I wonder if there's an easy way of getting to it. But anyway, let's watch some time together, and I might read the first bit of Albania's history after watching the timeline. So, let's just have a run. Our history. Okay. That was quite satisfying to watch. How we grew from so little, had to constantly cede territory to the Ottomans, and I think it was mostly just to the Ottomans. I'm not sure if I had ever ceded territory to anyone else. I did lose a couple of wars against Austria, where I just said, here, I will give land back to Venice, and Austria was happy enough with it. I think there's a few thoughts about this entire campaign. Number one, we still don't look that big, and most of the bulk actually is newly conquered land, which doesn't give us all that much benefit anyway. So a few thoughts. This area here, like this Balkan area, people don't normally think of being quite crap land. Especially Croatia, is amazing. Let me actually just get out of this timeline. Let me get out of here. Let's show you how to get out of here. Okay, there we go. If I show you development, this is the state of Croatia. This bit here, and the state of, what is this called? As you can see, East Adriatic. These two states are actually really wealthy. They all start off with very high development, but they're so easy to develop. This land is amazing. So is this land down here. You can see 22 in Dalmatia, 28 in Ragusa, Lyca has 26. They don't start with this much development. We've been pumping points to them. And part of that is because we have kind of been blessed with pretty decent monarchs for most of the game, but the biggest thing is, we are in Europe. Europe generally doesn't suffer from having the same issues as, say, playing in, I don't know, India or Southeast Asia or something. So we have a ton of spare points. Having the pretty good monarchs is just a cherry on top. Second is, this is an amazing trade node. If we look at trade, we're making a pretty decent chunk from trade. Oh, we're actually getting pirated by... Who's pirating us? Who are you? How dare you? The Ottomans are pirating us. Of course they are. Well, I mean, if I were to continue the campaign, I'll be killing them. How the hell does Ottomans have ships here? I guess because they have one port here. So once we go to war with the Ottomans again and take this, they won't be able to pirate us. But still, that's kind of funny. The point is, this is a pretty damn good trade node. We had all the trade from just Ragusa, Venice, and Wien, and a bit from Alexandria flowing into it. That's already pretty decent, and there's some pretty good trade goods here. Like for example, Croatia, again, all of this cloth. Over here, all this iron and cloth, and wine's not half bad. And down here, spices, cloth, okay, the grain's kind of shit, but you get the idea. There's some pretty decent trade goods coming into this, so even though we never had that much land, it really helped us economically. We basically replaced Venice. It's why Venice actually should be better if the AI was actually half decent. The problem is, Venice, the AI is just horrible. But if we were playing a Merchant Republic, we'd be making so much more money than this, despite having all this extra bulk. In fact, the extra bulk doesn't even help us that much. The funny thing about Merchant Republic is that you can make as much money as a blob taking up a whole continent by only owning a few strategic points. It's actually kind of fun. I played a game with Ragusa, and it ended up being quite similar to this. Another thing is Northern Italy. And just Italy in general, but Northern Italy is ridiculous amount of development. Lombardy, 121. Emilia-Romagna, 73. Tuscany, 119. Venetia, 110. What else is there to look at? Central Italy, 64. It's not half bad. And I'm also surprised by how much Naples developed their land as well. Like, okay, Lazio Campania includes Rome, which is why it's 96. But like Apulia, 58. Calabria is 46, and Sicily is the Jew, 70 development down there. And that's not even including Malta, is it? No, it does include Malta. So there's a ton of development, and really not a hell of land. A few other things to talk about, I think, is turning point. The first biggest turning point was being able to support 2 full armies. I mean, right now we have a ton of troops, we have a ton of manpower, but the true turning point was when we had the ability to have 2 full armies, and to me a full army is 14 infantry, 2 stacks of 14 infantry, 2 to 4 cav, and 10 cannons. Doesn't sound like much, but to me that's plenty for you to take on other medium-sized powers. Because as long as you have that much, you can pretty much start waging wars on your terms. Assuming, of course, the enemy isn't like Russia or France. Let's say enemies even slightly bigger than you can probably take on. So Bavaria, who has 233 stacks roughly, I could take them on with just 2 stacks probably. Be a little tricky, but you can do it. Whereas if you only have 1 stack, you kind of just every battle becomes piling everyone as possible, which was basically what our early war against Austria was. And then after every war, you had literally no manpower, and your armies were just completely decimated. It was just bad. So that was a turning point. That's just before we started attacking Milan and Naples. Of course, there was also I can't remember what happened, but I remember France would refuse to defend because Castile attacked France. France was kind of like getting destroyed by Castile, or at least being distracted, and we got opportunity. And that's probably the third point, is that we had, and this is the case for any campaign, you're always going to get opportunities, and you gotta know what those opportunities are and how to take advantage of them. And for us, we, despite Milan being pretty damn strong, Naples being pretty damn strong, we just took them on, and we took Italy for ourselves. And Italy is the jewel of our empire, not like the Greece and this is all newly integrated land, not Turkey, which isn't, oh, they are stated. I mean, don't get me wrong, Anatolia is amazing as well, but I mean, that's not our heartlands, that's just extra cherry on top. For us, it was truly just disparate land. And I guess lastly, the last final turning point was when we took advantage of Augsburg, who managed to expand to have all of this below started in Germany, only to get coalition to death, and we took advantage of that. And I think a part of that was also, we were constantly riding the aggressive expansion limit, but we never got coalition. And that's the important thing, is know when it's safe to just ignore aggressive expansion, and when when you can... what I'm trying to say is, when you can just take down one extra province, and when it's not safe. Basically, how to expand safely, especially in places like Europe, because Europe is kind of like a powder keg. If you take too much, you're going to get blown up. And you get coalition by half the world. Of course, part of it is also, we got lucky. The Protestant Reformation really took off, and usually the reason why Europe is such a powder keg is because there's just so many minor powers. And all these minor powers would get together. You take one province too many, they all get over 50 aggressive expansion, they join a coalition, and then that'll also pull the major powers too, and you'll be screwed. But as for us, every single minor power, which is basically the entire HRE, became Protestant, and that's massive. And also, they all got eaten up as well. Because that meant we could just eat Catholic land and nobody even cared. I mean, towards the end, we were just eating Milan and Naples and Spain, and literally nobody blinked a finger. Heck, does even France have aggressive expansion against us? They do, but barely. That's because Spain was its own cultural group. They're both Catholic. But, yeah, like for example, if I was eating French people, like, I don't know, Lorraine or something, France would care a lot more. But the point is, like, if everyone here was still Catholic, I would have been a coalition to hell by trying taking Spain. It's not that simple, especially since we are a different religion. And what else is there to say? I think it's just persistence. I looked at the situation for a lot of part of this campaign and just fell a little bit down. It's like, god damn it, Ottomans declared another war, god damn it, Russia declined. But, I mean, if you just keep being persistent, you will get opportunities and you will be able to achieve your goals. I mean, sure, we didn't conquer the world, and honestly, I don't feel like conquering the world. I have conquered the world twice in my own personal campaigns, once in Mongolia, once as Austria, and towards the end, I was just like, I want to get this over with, because this becomes so dull. I think the most fun campaigns we play is Scimitar, and that's what I call this, Scimitar. Like, we spent so much point development, we just focused so much on our lands that we had, not because we had a choice, really, it's because we were kind of forced to, but it's also kind of good because forcing us to develop our heartlands up basically meant we were forced to play Scimitar, and that's kind of good, because I think that's the best way of playing this game is, don't try to go for world conquest, that's boring. Instead, we want to have a powerful, stable empire. I mean, we had so many rebellions, we went over extension quite a few times, once against Spain, once against the Ottomans, but it was fine for the most part, we could handle it, it wasn't a big deal. And I think that's about it, really. I think the biggest mistake I made was really Cairo. Losing Cairo was a big mistake, but looking back, I would have lost it in a future war against the Ottomans anyway. I simply wasn't in a good position. Second biggest mistake I made was accepting to break alliances with Austria and Hungary. I thought it'd be fine because I thought after 10 years, they would just re-ally me. Seemed like a good assumption at the time. Except for Austria then turning hostile and wanting to eat my lands. Yeah, that was a thing. if that didn't happen, I think we would have been fine, and my original plan would have been fine. It's just that Austria was caught in a weakened position where he simply could not defend me from the Ottomans. But yeah, that was a mistake, breaking alliance with Austria. But that's it, I mean, Austria's dead now. And their mistake was earlier when we were allied to Hungary, I separate peace. Now, that was and wasn't a mistake. It was a mistake in that by separate peace I let Hungary get completely destroyed, because if the Ottomans took my land with war score against Hungary, that means a lot less land would be taken off Hungary, and Hungary would have remained strong, or at least stronger. I mean, it did give us the opportunity to expand into all of this, but at the same time, I think that was a mistake to separate peace. It did let us gain revanchism, which let us bounce back from the war a little bit, and let us regain all of these islands over here, which prior to that we did not own, and the goddamn knights constantly raiding us. That was pretty damn annoying. But still, I think it was a mistake to weaken Hungary that much. Of course, we did benefit from it in the long run, but I think we might be able to take a stand without allying Russia. I could have taken a stand with Hungary and Commonwealth and France if I just stayed on this side and just stayed in the war. I mean, I was fully occupied. There was that as well, which is always fun. We got fully occupied several times at least by the Ottomans. And I think that's about it, really. I'm not sure what my next campaign is going to be. I might do a quick mini-campaign before the next patch, which, I gotta say, I actually timed this quite well. Like, for me, today is the 12th. Tomorrow will be episode 71, which will be the 13th. The day after will be this episode, which will be the 14th, and then there will be 2 more days before Cradle of Civilization comes out. Now, I won't be recording any episode until the weekend, and I believe in 4 days' time it'll be Thursday. It's Sunday for me currently. So, I won't be recording any new episode until the weekend. So I think I might do a mini-campaign, I might do nothing. I'll decide after finishing this off. But regardless, I really hope you enjoyed this campaign overall. I hope you enjoy seeing the late game, and I hope you enjoy seeing me getting pummeled to death over and over and over by the goddamn Ottomans, who I would love to just kill right now, but what? You're allied to Mysore? Are you serious? And Scandinavia? That's the thing, isn't it? Either way, I hope you enjoyed this whole experience. I was, like I said, I felt a little bit of despair at times, but hey, be persistent and you'll get through pretty much anything. No matter how hard the achievement is, no matter how hard your goals are, if you just don't give up and just keep pushing forward, you will get there. And I think that'll be it. Peace out. Oh, and before we actually completely wrap up this campaign, I would like to just read through the first section of the history of Albania. The 4th of March 1443 to 31st of July 1479, we had Skanderbeg. The victorious Venetian reconquest of Lecce lasted for 5 years. What decided the war was the Battle of Lecce, when 14,473 Venetians fought the 18,892 men strong Albanian army led by Skanderbeg, who were almost unscathed. Emperor, and I think that's should be Emperor, should be Prince Skanderbeg, took part in the bloody Albanian conquest of Zeta. Our armies were victorious. The most decisive battle of the war was when 6,000 men led by Albanian Skanderbeg suffered some losses, attacking the 8,629 men strong Serbian army led by Miroslav Mirovic, who suffered some losses. The bloody second Ottoman conquest of Nice ended after 1 year, resulting in humiliation. The war was practically decided when Musa Sivan fought Zisgomond de Kovat in the Battle of Elatania. 31,741 Ottoman soldiers were almost unscathed by the 22,000 Hungarian soldiers, who lost most of their forces. The triumphant Albanian conquest of Venetia lasted 4 years. Historians talk about how Albanians fought the Venetians in the Battle of Treviso, led by the Albanian Skanderbeg, suffered some losses, fighting the 13,000-man Venetian army, led by Mario Loredan, who suffered some losses. Prince Skanderbeg fought in the bloody Danish conquest of Dithmarschen, and our armies were competent. Historians talk about how the Norwegians fought the Austrians in the Battle of Dithmarschen, led by the Norwegian Ludwig Torgerson, suffered some losses fighting the 58,000-strong Austrian army. led by Wilhelm Falkenberg, who suffered some losses. The unsuccessful Albanian conquest of Donj Kaji lasted for 2 years. An important event of the war was the Battle of Raska, where the Albanian forces led by Skanderbeg attacked Peter Pavlovic and his Bosnian forces. The 15,000-man strong Albanian army were almost unscathed, and the 5,000 Bosnian defenders lost most of their forces. Prince George Skanderbeg fought in the minor Austrian conquest of Venetia, and the armies were defeated. Historians talk about how the Austrians fought the Florentine in the Battle of Sundgau, led by the Austrian Joachim Heinrich, suffered some losses fighting the 39,226 strong Florentine army led by Francesco Stefano da Pani de Aragona, who suffered some losses. The unsuccessful Ragusan reconquest of Visoki lasted for 5 years. Historians talk about how the Ragusans fought the Albanians in the Battle of Visoki, led by the Ragusan Mario Giorgi, lost most of their forces fighting the 16,232 strong Albanian army led by Skanderbeg, who were almost unscathed. On the 2nd of February 1469, the infidels of Zeta embraced the one true faith. In the year of our Lord, 1468, George Skanderbeg converted to the true faith of Orthodox. The Venetians, having shown their loyalty time and time again, were accepted as full partners of our mighty nation. In the reign of George Skanderbeg, we moved our capital to Lezi. In the reign of George Skanderbeg, we moved our capital to Skanderbeg's Bastion. The reign of George Skanderbeg saw the provinces of Venetia, Dalmatia, Smederevo, Ducagini's triumph, Skanderbeg's Bastion, Raska, Nice, and Duras gained. And that was the life of Skanderbeg, and this was Skanderbeg's legacy. I'll see you guys for the next campaign.